Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll be discussing about the basics of Python function. In the previous video, we saw the basic introduction of what is function and how to use it. In this, we'll be exploring each and every aspect of the function, right? Let us start where we left off. So we now know how to define a function, that is def keyword, and then after that we define the function name, right? So let's say function name is print 100. So print n. Yeah, so print n, so that will be the function name, and inside I will give the value of n, and inside the function I will be printing. Okay, let me give two values here, so that is text and n, and inside I will be putting a loop. So for example, for I in range of n, I am going to print the text. So I will call this function here print n of hello world and 10. Yeah, so let me explain what I've done here. I've created a function called print n with two parameters, right? So this value that you're giving inside a function definition and that variable that you will be using inside will be called as a parameter, right? As I hover over here, it says parameter text any, which means the name of the parameter is text and the data type is any. And when I hover to n, I get the same as well. So text and n here are my parameters. So going inside the function, I have a loop here, and inside that I am printing the text, right? So I am printing the text. Let's say the text is hello world that I've given it here. So what this exactly does is for it prints this text every 10 times, like for a total of 10 times. So for I in range of 10, that is my loop will run 10 times, and for each time I will print the text, and the text that I've given here is hello world. Now with logic, we need to understand that the output here should be hello world that is printed 10 times, right? So we'll check that right now. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Yeah, so we have hello world printed 10 times. Now this should be I hope you understood how this is working, because this will be very important for the further explanations of what we're giving. So first we have the definition, and inside the definition we have the activities that we need to perform, and here I am calling the function. So this is called the function definition, this is called the function call, and these two are called parameters. The next value that we'll be seeing is called an argument. So what exactly is an argument? When we give parameters, it is just an indication to Python that whenever I'm calling this function, I will be giving two values, out of which the first value should be used like this and the second value should be used like this. So that is the indication that we're giving to the Python function. What are those values? Those values will be given when the function is called, right? So the values that are given when the function definition is there and we are instructing the function how to use those values are called function parameters, and they are present only inside the function definition. The next value is argument. Now whenever we are calling the function, we are giving values to the variables defined in the function definition. So the value that we are giving for each parameter would be our argument, right? So this is the difference between a function parameter and a function argument. Now what I am doing is, let's say I give a value for I that is 0. I've declared I here as 0, and okay, let me change the variable. A is 0 here. So inside my loop I will update the value of a by 1, and after the function, the program is over, the function is over, I will return the value of a, right? So my returned value is equal to this function, right? So this function will return my a value, and I've stored it in this variable called returned value. Now let us run this and see what the output is. So 10 times I have, and my returned value, I will print this so that we can observe that. So I can observe my value as 10. So after 10 iterations, my a will be 10. Now what I'm going to do here is, my a is defined inside this function, right? I will try to print the value of a here, right? So I'll close this and I will run it. As you can see that I get an error that says name a is not defined, which means I have not declared this variable a anywhere, but I have declared it here. Why am I getting such an error? So now we come to a concept called the scope of a variable. So whenever we are declaring variables inside indentation blocks, we need to make sure that the value of the variable is accessible. Whenever we are accessing a variable, we need to make sure that whatever indentation block that we are accessing it in, inside that indentation block only, the variable should have been defined. But here my indentation is on the outermost part, and where I have defined my a is inside this function. So whenever I'm using this variable a inside this function, it means I can access this variable a only inside this function and never outside, right? So that is called a local variable. So now a is a variable that is local to this particular function println. I cannot use this variable a outside, right? So that is the definition of what a scope is. Now my scope for this a variable is inside this function. Scope is basically the area under which my variable is valid and can be used. So my a can be used only inside the println function, and hence the scope for a is inside the println function. Now there is something called a global variable. So if I use the variable, the keyword global a, right? So that means my a can be accessed anywhere, which means my scope of the variable a becomes global. Now the meaning for this will be understood if we run this program, right? So I run this program and I get the value 10. Now I am not printing my returned value, I am printing a itself. Now what does that mean? I have given the keyword global here, which means even though my a is declared inside a scope, I am explicitly mentioning that I want to use this a anywhere in my program. So that is the meaning of the keyword global, right? So hope you've understood. So what we have seen in this video is the definition of function, how to call the function, what are arguments, what are parameters, and what is the scope of a variable, and what is a global variable, right? Hope you've understood, and thank you for watching, and let's meet in the next video.